Everyone, in this video we want to talk to you about 4 habits to avoid with your significant other. So number 1 is too much criticism. It's generally not a good idea to constantly criticize every little thing that your significant other does.
Yeah, ladies, you have a problem there. I listen to you.
Yeah, well,
you try to micromanage everything.
It's basically certain things.
Turns your husband off.
Certain things need to be said, but criticizing every little error, especially if it's something.
It's a really bad verbal habit.
Yeah, and especially if it's something small, like maybe they did something small that you could take 5 to 10 seconds of your time to easily fix. But instead, you need to criticize that they did it wrong, even when you know they weren't doing it on purpose. It's like, why not just, save your breath and use that extra oxygen to go and fix it yourself, because it'll take you 5 to 10 seconds. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, the only problem I see with that is when women tend to resent I see more women trying to micromanage husbands than men doing it, but men do comment too, but yeah.
Okay, but that plays into our second 2 points. So resent, right? So
yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Point number 2 is ignoring important complaints. And this is where the resentment comes in, is because, yeah, you don't want to just constantly criticize the significant other. But if they're doing shit, even if it's small stuff that just strikes a nerve with you for whatever reason, you need to tell them. And that second thing to avoid in a relationship is ignoring when your significant other communicates these things to you.
Especially if they're not doing it in a derogatory, complaining way.
Yep.
The one that I was explaining previously. If they're saying, this is really hard for me when you leave your socks right there. I have to pick them up every day. It's all in your presentation of your words too.
Yeah, exactly. It's, not coming across super aggressive, confrontational, but just expressing your concern in a more soft and vulnerable way, just letting them know that it's something that bothers you. And ignoring it is an issue, because it doesn't matter what you think of the situation. It doesn't matter what I think of something when Brianna has a concern, because why should my concerns be the same as hers? We're 2 different humans. I should be respecting her and respect those concerns and make an effort to do them. And you should be able to see when those efforts are being made on a regular basis. Are you gonna?
Yeah, you can tell if someone's trying to change.
Yeah.
And they just, because they're gonna miss the mark when they're trying to change a behavior. We all do. Everyone does.
Yep.
And so you have to have some kind of empathy.
And that's where we come back to not being overly critical. If you see that they're trying, then when they screw up, what's the point of criticizing them? They probably just slipped up that one time, but if you notice them not slipping up, multiple times, then just let it go.
Yeah. Well, and I think positive reinforcement is big. I think that a lot of people fail to give that to their partner.
Yeah, I agree completely. And then playing off this, when your partner confides in you the things that bother them, point number 3 would be failing to empathize with them. Don't get defensive. It's
you will
not,
naturally.
Yeah, you will naturally, your ego. But just don't. Try to empathize with them. Try to understand that, hey, this is bothering them. And so my job right now is to actively listen to what they have to say and to not defend myself. But this also comes back to when we said, talk to them in a more soft and vulnerable way when you express your concerns. Because if you just come at them, then their ego is going to go up a lot more than if it would if you came at them in a softer manner.
Yeah,
because
it's
that's
how you
natural.
present your words. This really is bothering me. Instead of, you are doing this.
Yeah, make it about yourself.
Changes.
Make it about yourself. Use I statements. I dislike when dishes are left in the sink. It gives me a lot of anxiety. Can we work on doing dishes as soon as we use them and cleaning them?
Yeah.
Rather than saying, you're giving me a lot of anxiety because you don't do the dishes after you do them. Can you, instead of making it you statements, make it I statements and tell them that this is how you feel internally. And then, work on the middle grounds. Make it a team effort. Can we work on it like this? let them know that you're right there with them to like help them, and that
Your
it's
team.
something that will help you out. And if they're a good partner, then they should want to empathize, like, oh, I never realized that I was even doing that.
Yeah.
And even if they're honest, like I personally, like, it just doesn't bother me at all, but I'll work on it for you. Like, even if they acknowledge they can't empathize with you for whatever reason, what's important is that you make your other significant other comfortable.
Yes, it's effort.
Exactly, effort. And so then the fourth one is technoference, where somebody is more obsessed with technology than the other person.
Yeah. We all know those people that sit there on their phone and they'll respond to their Instagram messages before they'll sit there and talk to their significant other, like right next to them.
Yeah, or as soon as, like, if you're talking to each other, as soon as you're done talking, they're back on their phone, as if they were waiting for you to finish talking.
Yeah, that's like a huge no-no in a relationship. It just shows disinterest in your partner.
Yeah.
Like all across the board. And this usually happens after the honeymoon's over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just like frankly being obsessed with social media in general. There are exceptions to this. Some people literally make their life off of social media.
Yeah, like we work on social media.
And so I'm thinking.
But still, if we were to like not focus on each other's like conversing and just like obsess over even work, even if it was social media, that would be like a huge no-no.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking more of like, I don't know, maybe your job is to like always show off all the amazing food that you eat on Instagram. So every time you go and get food, you have to take a million pictures of you with the food so that you can share it. And it's like, maybe in that circumstance, if that's like literally your job to do that, then that's understandable. But your partner should be aware of that and be okay with it.
Yeah, and there's red flags in that situation too. Like if you are sitting there having an intimate conversation with someone and they pick up their phone, I think that's more of what.
Yeah, I agree.
Is the issue.
I agree completely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So those were the four things. Like, don't be overly critical. Don't ignore when they tell you important things. Don't fail to empathize. At least try, or at least acknowledge when you can't empathize and just show effort. And then don't be obsessed with technology over, spending time with your significant other.
Pretty much don't be a dick.
Yes. So if you like this content, then awesome. That's what we're trying to do. And if you know someone who you think this content would help, please share the video with them. Thanks.